Good morning. It seems like every time I'm trying to do a video like I'm doing today, we're going through a storm. We had one last night, super typhoon. It's since gone off I guess, came in to Belair on the east coast, cut across Luzon, and exited out toward La Union. So we had no power for about 14 hours, 15 hours, and then a lot of wind, a lot of rain, but it's pretty good this morning, so hopefully all's good from this point going forward, but we'll see. We're still supposed to get a lot of rain and wind. But that being said, today's topic, I guess, is Philippines versus Cambodia comparison. Before I went on my trip, I just got back a week ago or so. I guess last Wednesday got back. But told you I was going to Thailand, Cambodia. I hadn't been to Cambodia. I've been to Thailand quite a few times. But I wanted to kind of compare Cambodia versus the Philippines. And I was wondering why Cambodia, Phnom Penh mainly, another popular place is Siem Reap, but hopefully I'm saying that right. But Phnom Penh was in Cambodia had overtaken the Philippines in tourism in 2025, which was kind of hard for me to fathom. I knew Vietnam was beating it. I knew Thailand was beating the Philippines, but I was kind of surprised when I saw that Cambodia was beating the Philippines. Since my return, I know the answer to that question. I'm going to go a few points and go from there. Remember, as I go through this is my opinion. I'm going to lay it out as I saw it, and then, but it's my opinion. You go there, you might have a totally different opinion, but this is mine. It's my perception. I do like the lower cost of Phnom Penh to include local food. It's pretty cheap to eat there. Local food, $2 to $3. I think we paid anywhere from $1.50 to about $4 if you really eating a lot. But it's somewhere around that area. Couple bucks, $2 to $3 to eat with a drink, and that's local food. There's not a lot of fast food. There's no McDonald's in Cambodia. It's never taken off. Burger King is there. Domino's, KFC. Some of those things are there, but when I was there, I mainly ate the local food. I wanted to try it out. They said it was a cross between Vietnam and Thailand, and it sort of is. But the food, like I said, is cheap. Good restaurants, and if you don't want to eat local, there are Western style sports bars. There's breweries and other restaurants and bars you can go to and get something to eat. I was quite impressed with the restaurants they had in Phnom Penh compared to like I see where I'm used to living in Subic Bay. You just don't have those things. One thing you do have in Subic Bay is a lot of coffee shops. But so I was quite impressed with the restaurants they had there. I know one restaurant went into. I did not eat, just had a drink, but it was a Georgian restaurant, country of Georgia, and it was a pretty nice restaurant. Actually, I was going to a brewery, went in the wrong place, then discovered we weren't in the brewery, but still, it was a nice place. I'm glad I went in there. Good stuff. Another thing I liked there was inexpensive seafood. You want crab, you want shrimp, you want prawns, you want different types of fish. So fresh, so cheap. You can go to the markets and they're cooking seafood. You can buy it out on the street. It's really fresh, and that's one thing I was told before I went there. Cambodia uses almost everything is local ingredients, no matter what it is, including the seafood. But yeah, the vegetables, everything very, very fresh, very local. Another thing, let's talk about beer and hotels. Beer prices ran about, I would say, during the day, a lot of places have happy hour for $1, $1. And then that goes on to 7 or 8 p.m. from early morning. Other places you might find $2. In the evening, if it's not happy hour, they might want to charge you $3. But most of the time, what we paid was no more than a couple bucks. So that's a good thing. Hotels, the hotel I stayed at was not the best. It was cheap enough, $23, but you kind of get what you pay for. So I wouldn't stay there again. But there are other hotels that I'll put in the description, along with restaurants and the breweries. I'll put it all in the description of this video, so you'll have that information if you ever decide to go to Cambodia and Phnom Penh. But yeah, hotels are pretty cheap there, even for, I guess, their fancier ones. You can probably get a deal for 50 or 60 bucks for a real nice one. And then, like I said, ours was, or the one I stayed at, was $23. But it did the job. It was okay. And that was a good thing. And it was close walking to everything. The area I stayed in, near the river, I probably wouldn't stay there again. I'd probably stay near more the nicer area, which is BKK 1, there in Phnom Penh. And, you know, a lot of embassies are there, restaurants, all kinds of stuff, monuments. It's a really nice area. The river, they do offer boat rides there. So you can always do that as well. Transportation is better and cheaper from what I used in Phnom Penh than it is definitely here in Subic Bay. A tuk-tuk, which you want to get off a Grab, runs about I'd say 75 cents to $1 and a quarter to go anywhere in town within about 15 or 20 minutes. And I think the furthest I went was maybe 20, 25, but normally most of the place I was going from my hotel was about 10 minutes max away. And like I said, it ran anywhere from 75 cents to $1 and a quarter. You book it on Grab, and then it works just like car Grab or whatever, but it's tuk-tuk that shows up. If you book your tuk-tuk not on Grab, you just go up to one, and they're everywhere, and you get a ride with them. Instead of paying maybe $1, you're going to pay around $2 to $3, depends on where you're going. But so it's always better to book it off the Grab app. They have another app, forgot what it is, but I just use Grab. I'm used to it, I'm familiar with it. I've used Grab Card many places in Southeast Asia, including Manila and Cebu City, and even Angeles here in the Philippines. The infrastructure I was pretty impressed with in Phnom Penh. Very nice city. I did go off the beaten track a little bit. And it kind of reminded me a little bit of Langka, but for the most part, most of the city I went to was very, very, very nice. Definitely good infrastructure. One thing I'll point out, the road, because I got the new KTI, Techno Airport, there in Phnom Penh. When we landed, it was at night, raining. Took about maybe 45 minutes to get to the hotel in downtown Phnom Penh. Going back to the airport, leaving, it was early morning, it barely took 25 minutes, something like that. So that's about how far it is from the airport to Phnom Penh, or vice versa. And the new airport is very nice. It reminded me of Clark a lot, which I do still like Clark. Probably the best I've been to in Southeast Asia. It's a very easy, manageable airport, but I will say the KTI airport is very nice as well. A lot of available space yet, so they're obviously probably looking to expand. Their flights are kind of limited. I mean, from the planes I saw out, kind of like Clark, you don't see a lot of traffic going in or out or anything like that. But I'm pretty sure I heard they are planning to expand and get more flights. I wish they'd get one from Clark into Phnom Penh. I was told you can go from Manila to Phnom Penh, but I'm not sure. I haven't checked that out. I flew Cebu Pacific from Clark to Bangkok, spent maybe 5 days in Pattaya, and then came back to Bangkok, flew over to Phnom Penh and back, and that was on Air Asia. Very cheap flight, not expensive at all, maybe a little over $100. And then the flight going over to Bangkok and back, I think I paid $160 going from Clark to Bangkok. And one thing I'll mention about, when you go through from Subic Bay to Angeles on the SETEX and up to Clark Airport is very dark. Very dark. They need some lights on that road. Well, from Phnom Penh all the way out to the airport, the new airport is lit up very well. So you don't have to worry about that there. The roads are nice. They're building all over the place between Phnom Penh and KTI Airport. Construction is going on like crazy. I saw car dealerships, strip malls, restaurant, all kinds of stuff. So they're really building. I'm sure in 5 years you wouldn't even know the place the way it is from now to 5 years from now. But very, very impressive. We did have some problems when I landed. Going through immigration, you can get visa on arrival. I got mine in advance, but the systems are very new. The Prime Minister was just there the week before. I guess we're opening up officially the airport. And so they had some, and it maybe had been open a little over a month, 5 weeks before I arrived. So they had some problems with their immigration going through. They had the passport readers, all that. So there were some issues, some hiccups. I ended up having to go to a counter, and the guy said it should have worked. He kind of apologized, but everything's new. So they're working out the kinks. So I understood and got through it. It was okay. No problem. Easy to get a taxi. Was going to book a Grab, but we just got a taxi, got a pretty good deal. I think we paid $20 to go to Phnom Penh from the airport. Coming back, I booked Grab, and I paid a little more, $25, but I wanted it from the hotel and make it easy. It's early morning. I just wanted a guaranteed ride, hassle-free type of deal. But yeah, well-lit road going out there. The roads around Phnom Penh was very nice. Next thing I'm going to talk about is Wi-Fi. I had some problems going over. I have a T-Mobile, and then I have Globe, and I've always had trouble over there with Globe. Before it was just too expensive to buy their plan over there overseas in like Thailand, Vietnam. So I always got the local SIM. Well, this time I did have a problem in May going to Thailand. This time though, I just T-Mobile, found out later it was a plan. They had messed up my plan. But here or there, I didn't have good Wi-Fi. Good data for my phone in Pattaya. When I was at a place with Wi-Fi, then of course it was all good. But when I went back to Bangkok, I made sure I got their local SIM because I was coming back for a couple days after Cambodia. And then also when I got to Cambodia, I got theirs, a SIM from theirs. Now in Bangkok for 15 gigs, I think it was $9-something for 30 days. And then in Cambodia, and that's 5G, and it works really well in Thailand anywhere. But in Phnom Penh, they only have 4G, but it worked great. No hiccups. My data always worked, so that was a good thing. But I got 15 gigs of data for $5 through the local carrier there, and then that was really cheap. And then I went out in town, actually had to go by. I was having problems, and it actually was my VPN causing issues. And they said they really don't use it there, so it will cause hiccups and problems if you're using a VPN. But theirs If you go to the actual cell phone company there, the office, that $5 I paid comes down to $1.50 for 15 gigs for 30 days. You really can't beat that at all. So, yeah, and that's the same thing in Vietnam. It's pretty cheap. All the Wi-Fi seem to work better than the Philippines, whether it be Vietnam, Thailand, and or Cambodia. So that's again comes down to infrastructure, where the Philippines seem to lack in many cases, whether it be transportation, whether it be communication, whatever it is, they're just lacking in infrastructure. Okay, the US dollar is used there just like their money, the Riel or whatever it's called. I think it's RIEL. And excuse me, the exchange rate is 4,000 to 1. If you go to an ATM, they usually give you a choice. Do you want dollars? Do you want the local currency? And then when you, there's no fee per se to use the US dollar there. It's just what it is. It's just you pay ATM fee of $5. Well, with I have a bank I use, I don't pay international fees. I don't pay ATM fees. Well, actually, ATM fees are reimbursed at the end of the month. So again, I really don't pay ATM fees. So for me, if I want $100 out of an ATM, well, I get $100. I don't pay the fee. So that's really good. The local currency is kind of harder to deal with, like I said, because it's 4,000 to 1. If you go to any business, you have an option usually of paying with dollars or local currency. Okay, and then when you get change back though, they may give it back partly in dollars, partly in local currency. It could be a combo, or they could give it back to you whatever you paid in. But you just kind of never know. But on most receipts, say you go to a restaurant, it's going to give you the dollar amount, it's going to give you the local currency amount, and the dollar is broken down. They give you the 4,000 to 1 rate. So you're really not getting ripped off. You're paying whatever the exchange rate is, which is a good thing. But really found it convenient to pay dollars. One thing about it, if you get money out ATM and if you got local currency, well, and you leave, you got too much, you got to wait until you go back, if you go back, to use it. Whereas the dollars, you can use those. You can go back on a trip to the U.S., whatever the case may be, or if you're just visiting from the U.S. over there, it's no problem. So I really like that. It's the only place in Southeast Asia that dollars are used like that. I just really found that convenient, very nice. One thing I did have a problem with, the ATM gave me a $100 bill at the airport, and I had problems changing it. Actually had to go to a bank, and the bank actually broke it down because a lot of them just said they didn't have change for a $100 bill. So that's one thing is probably recommended, is if you do get dollars out of an ATM and they're giving you $100 bills or whatever, make sure you go to a bank as soon as possible and cash that in, or get change, break it down to lower bills, smaller bills, I should say. So regular bars, I kind of mentioned the prices already, but if you want to go to like a girly bar or whatever you want to call it, they're going to charge you, unless it's happy hour, they're going to try to charge you $3 to $5 for your drink. Ladies' drinks probably $5, but a lot of the places, especially earlier, they have happy hour where you can get either 2 for 1 or steal the $1 or 2. And when I'm talking about the beers, draft beer, okay? Draft beer rules over there. They have it everywhere. And you can get the Cambodia beers. I drank Cambodia more than anything. They have some other local beers, and tried them all, but I kind of drank more the Cambodia beer is what it was called. Draft was cheaper. If you got stuff in a bottle, that's expensive. A lot more expensive in a bottle. Cans, a little bit less, of course, but yeah, draft is a way to go if you're a beer drinker. Mixed drinks, they had their own local brands, kind of like they do Philippines, Thailand, wherever it is. There are local spirits, but yeah, it was okay. Prices weren't too bad. Get more bang for your buck. If I was recommend, I'd say pretty much stay away from Girly Bar District. There's so many other places you can go and meet people, hang out. And one of the places I highly recommend is Bassac Lane, Bassac Lane. And really good. It reminded me of Japan. You got, had a nice sports bar there with a good view of everything called Captain's. But then they have these little side alleys with these little bitty bars. If you've ever been to Japan, it will remind you of Japan. It was really cool. Highly recommend. Even found a good pizza place there. Except mainly ate local food, but we tried the pizza place. Really good. I think for a regular size, $9, you know, not too bad, including drinks, so not too shabby. And the pizza was actually good. One thing I'll say, whether it's Thailand or Cambodia, you know, if you eat local food, like I said, $3, no problem, you can get food. Not a problem at all. One thing the difference in Vietnam is you can eat at a Michelin star restaurant for $3 to $5. And there's a lot of them, some of them's mom and pops, but yeah, if you get a chance in Vietnam, yeah, check out the Michelin star restaurants. There's quite a few. I went to one area and there was like 4 around one block almost. It was good. But the restaurants, I mean, I ate at the market, 2 different markets a few times, and the food, like I said, would run me with a drink about $2.50 to $3. And it was good. I was full. I was happy. I ate a lot of soups, a lot of stuff. I won't say pho like in Vietnam, but still, it was noodle dishes with chicken. I had one with crab brain, and it was good. The food was good. I was impressed. Locally sourced again. Pharmacies are plentiful and cheap, and you can pretty much get about anything you need at the pharmacy at a really good price. And so if you have a need for some type of medicine, you can definitely get it there. Okay, for like salon services, the only thing I had in Cambodia was a shave. And a shave and mustache, trim, beard trim, whatever. It was $2. Same thing I pay over on Monastery in Subic Bay, 100 pesos there. But it's nice when I ask the barber how much the shave is, and he says $2. That's a nice ring in my ear, $2. The Philippines has a lot of promise. Okay, they have a lot of promise, but it's been that way for years. But it seems like hardly anything ever happens for progress, and if it does, it moves at a snail's pace. Where these other countries, they get going and they finish the projects, and therefore, you know, they really are looking to improve infrastructure. Also here, people say, well, you know, these other countries, they don't speak English. Philippines speak English, you know, so that's why I like it there, or that's a difference. That's what gives Philippines an advantage over these other countries. Well, you can find people that speak a little English here and there, some better than others in whether it be Vietnam, Thailand, Cambodia, but you do need, like me, I have to use a translator a lot to make sure, or there'll be some misunderstandings. So using a translator, I use a lot. And with what I just said, I would still rather be in those other countries than the Philippines, even with the language barrier. I'd rather use my translator there then have more people speak English like they do in the Philippines, just because I like the food better, the infrastructure's better, they seem to be progressing. And speaking of language, Vietnam, I just saw recently, they've made mandatory English to be taught from the first grade onwards. So they're, again, making strides to improve. And so that's a good thing. I don't speak the local languages, so yeah, I'm a little bit dependent on on someone speaking English or the translators. So I understand that. So it's not on them, I'm in their country, to speak, for them to speak English to me. It's for me to figure out how I'm going to communicate with them. But that being said, too, with the language, I know if you get out from where there's many foreigners in the Philippines, the English really seems to go downhill. I don't know if it's not stressed as much in schools as it used to, but it seems like the older folks speak better English overall than the younger people. But that's just my observation. You may experience something different. At 4.5 years, 4 years and a half in the Philippines, I've been blessed to be able to travel from Batanes to Mindanao and in between many places. So I've got to experience a lot of the Philippines, and I'm glad I got to do that. I have some favorite places like Siargao, kind of like El Nido. I like Bicol. Bohol was okay. Some place in Cebu, but I have some favorite places. But at this point, I think it's time to move on from the Philippines. I'm looking to go get my daughter settled in college in the U.S. Next summer, and then eventually come back over. And I want to have a home base. I'm looking at Cambodia, and I'm looking at maybe Bataan in the Philippines, maybe two. And then go more between Vietnam, Thailand, Cambodia, and somewhat the Philippines. But I want to kind of explore these other countries more. I've already explored the Philippines quite a bit. In Cambodia, once you're there, I was told it's pretty easy to get a 6-month visa. It runs about $170. Not bad. So you go there, you get 30 days to enter, and then, and they give you a window. So you have like a 60-day window from the time you apply to go, and then you can stay 30 days. And, I was only there 5 days. But, visa seems to be, if you want an easier visa to get, Cambodia is the way to go. It's cheap. Rent's cheap. I know you can get a pretty nice place. $500, something like that. Really nice place, a nice area. Furnish, of course, will cost you more, I'm sure. But it overall, Cambodia is not for everybody, I'm sure. But Phnom Penh offers a lot. It's their major city. It's their capital. So it's just like going to Bangkok, Manila, Ho Chi Minh, Saigon. It's got a lot of stuff, and it's nice. So it offers a lot. Then with the new airport, like I said, the prices are cheap. So that's why I'm looking at that. But also, I'll probably have home base in the Philippines as well to travel around. But we'll see how that goes. Okay, to each their own. So what I'm saying here is just my opinion. You may have a totally different opinion. I respect that. But just from my travels, if I would I came to the Philippines 4.5 years ago. If I would just stayed in the Philippines, I'd probably be okay, more so. But once you start traveling around Southeast Asia, you see the difference in infrastructure, difference in communication, just kind of how they've advanced more, and they're advancing compared to the Philippines. Then you start noticing, and the more you go, or the more I went, I start discovering these things. And I'm like, you know what? I can make my money go a little further. I can have a little bit better infrastructure. and communication. I like the foods better over there than I do in the Philippines. I have my favorites. I mentioned this before in the Philippines, but I do like the foods better in the rest of Southeast Asia. But that's just my opinion. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you enjoy my videos. I'll be putting out quite a few videos from Cambodia and also from Thailand over the next couple weeks. So I hope you'll watch some of those. Thanks for watching.